I was sitting in the doctor's office when my world collapsed. The pain in my side had been getting worse all morning, but I'd pushed through it like I always did. Single father of 3-year-old twins. You learn to function through discomfort. But when Dr. Harrison looked at my test results and said I needed emergency surgery for a burst appendix within hours, terror seized my chest. I called my parents immediately, begging them to watch Emma and Lucas during my surgery and overnight stay. My mother's voice turned ice cold. They had Elton John concert tickets with my sister Diane tonight. I was a nuisance and a burden for always asking for help. The line went dead. My hands were shaking as I stared at my phone. The pain in my abdomen was getting sharper, radiating through my entire right side. Emma and Lucas were at their daycare, and I had maybe 3 hours before I needed to pick them up. 3 hours to figure out what to do with 2 confused, frightened toddlers while their father went under the knife. I've been alone in this for 2 years now. My wife Lauren died when a drunk driver ran a red light on a Tuesday afternoon. She was on her way to pick up groceries. The twins were only 18 months old. They barely remember her now, which breaks my heart in ways I can't explain. I have one photo of the 4 of us in the living room, taken a week before she died. Sometimes I catch Lucas staring at it, and I wonder what he's thinking. My parents, Richard and Susan, live in a beautiful 4-bedroom house in Upper Arlington, just 20 minutes from my place in Columbus. That house, the one they're so comfortable in, I helped make possible. 3 years ago, when they were struggling with their mortgage after my father's early retirement, I gave them $60,000 for a down payment on that place. $60,000 I'd been saving since college, money Lauren and I had planned to use for our own dream home someday. I never asked them to pay me back. They're my parents. Family helps family, right? That's what I believed. I also pay for my younger sister Diane's college tuition, $15,000 every semester at Ohio State. She's 23, studying marketing, and has never worked a day in her life. My parents said it would be too stressful for her to balance school and a job. So I balanced my job, single parenthood, and her tuition payments. And now, when I needed them for one night, one emergency, they couldn't be bothered. I tried calling again. My mother answered on the 5th ring, irritation clear in her voice. "Austin, we already told you no. These tickets cost $300 each. Diane has been looking forward to this for months." "Mom," my appendix burst. "The doctor said I could die if I don't have surgery today. I just need you to watch the twins overnight. Please. You're being dramatic. It's just surgery. People have surgery all the time. Can't you reschedule it?" I actually laughed at that. A desperate, painful sound. "Reschedule my burst appendix? Mom, do you hear yourself? Don't take that tone with me. You're always so demanding, Austin. We have a life too. We're not your built-in babysitters." My father's voice rumbled in the background. "Tell him we already made plans. He needs to figure this out himself." "I have figured things out myself," I said, my voice breaking, "for 2 years, every single day. I'm asking for one night. One night when I'm facing a medical emergency. That's your choice. You chose to keep those kids after Lauren died. Nobody forced you to be a single parent. You could have asked us to take them, but you wanted to be the hero. Well, heroes don't whine when things get hard." The cruelty of those words hit me like a physical blow. Keep those kids. As if Emma and Lucas were burdens I should have discarded. As if loving my children made me weak. "Forget it," I whispered. "Forget I asked." I hung up before she could respond. The pain was excruciating now, doubling me over. I had one more option. I called Diane directly. "What's up?" she answered, music blaring in the background. "Diane, I need your help. I'm having emergency surgery, and I need someone to watch Emma and Lucas tonight." "Can't. Concert with Mom and Dad. It's going to be amazing. Elton John's final tour. Austin. This is history. I could die if I don't have this surgery." My appendix ruptured. "You're not going to die. Stop being so dramatic. Why can't you just hire a babysitter like normal people? Because it's emergency surgery, and it's happening in 2 hours, and I'm scared and I thought my family might care enough to help me." She sighed, long and exaggerated. "You're always guilt-tripping everyone. It's exhausting. Look, I gotta go. We're leaving soon. Good luck with your surgery or whatever." She hung up. I sat there in my car outside the doctor's office, tears streaming down my face, and called 911. The pain was unbearable now. I could barely form words. The operator stayed on the line with me, calm and professional, telling me an ambulance was 3 minutes away. While I waited, shaking and crying, I pulled up an emergency childcare service on my phone. My vision was blurring, but I managed to book someone. Carol, $300 for overnight emergency care. I entered my credit card information with trembling fingers. The ambulance arrived. 2 paramedics, a man and a woman, helped me onto the stretcher. I gave them Carol's number, begged them to call her, to make sure she got to my house before the daycare closed. The male paramedic, whose name tag said James, squeezed my shoulder. "We'll make sure your kids are taken care of. You focus on staying with us." In the ambulance, the pain became everything. I was vaguely aware of James calling Carol, explaining the situation, giving her my address. I heard him say the daycare would release the twins to her if she showed my authorization email. Through the ambulance window, I watched the city blur past. Somewhere out there, my parents were getting ready for a concert. My sister was probably picking out her outfit, and I was alone, possibly dying, worrying about whether a stranger I'd hired over the phone would love my babies enough to comfort them when they asked for me. At the hospital, everything moved fast. Nurses hooked me up to IVs, took my vitals, asked me questions I barely understood. A surgeon came in, a woman with kind eyes and graying hair. Dr. Patricia Chen. Wait, no, that name's not allowed. Dr. Patricia Morrison. "Austin, I'm Dr. Morrison. I've reviewed your scans. Your appendix has ruptured and you've developed peritonitis. That means the infection has spread into your abdominal cavity. This is very serious. If you'd waited another hour, maybe 2, we'd be looking at sepsis. You could have died." The words didn't fully register. All I could think about was Emma asking for me at bedtime, Lucas needing his specific blue blanket, the way they both climbed into my bed during thunderstorms. "My kids?" I mumbled. "Someone's with my kids?" A nurse checked her tablet. "Carol Henderson arrived at your home 20 minutes ago. The daycare released your children to her with your authorization. She sent a message that they're safe and she's making them dinner." I started crying again. Not from pain, though that was overwhelming. From relief, from exhaustion, from the crushing weight of doing everything alone and realizing just how alone I really was. They wheeled me into surgery. The last thing I remember is the anesthesiologist telling me to count backwards from 10. I made it to 7. I woke up in recovery, feeling like I'd been cut in half. The pain was different now, sharp and localized, burning across my abdomen. A nurse noticed my eyes opening and came over immediately. "Welcome back, Austin. Surgery went well. You're going to be fine." "How long?" My mouth was dry, tongue thick. "About 2 hours in surgery. You've been in recovery for 30 minutes. Dr. Morrison will be by soon to talk to you." "My kids?" She smiled. "Your nanny called an hour ago. Both children are asleep. She said to tell you they had chicken nuggets and watched a movie, and they're okay." Carol. A complete stranger was tucking my babies into bed because my own parents couldn't be bothered. Dr. Morrison came by 20 minutes later. She pulled up a chair next to my bed, her expression serious. "Austin, you're going to need to stay here for 5 days, possibly longer. The infection was extensive. We've got you on IV antibiotics, and we need to monitor you closely for complications. Peritonitis is no joke. 5 days, not 1 night. 5 days at $300 per day for emergency child care. $1,500 I hadn't budgeted for, plus my hospital bills, plus my deductible of $6,000. But I was alive. And my kids still had a father. That night, around 11, I made the mistake of calling my parents. I don't know why. Maybe I thought the severity of my condition would make them realize how badly they'd failed me. Maybe I just wanted them to care. My mother answered, music and voices in the background. They were clearly at some after-concert gathering. "Austin, why are you calling so late? I wanted to let you know the surgery went well, but it was worse than they thought. My appendix had ruptured. I have peritonitis. The doctor said if I'd waited another hour, I could have died." Silence. Then, "Well, you didn't die, so I guess it worked out." "Mom, do you understand what I'm saying? I almost died while you were at a concert. Don't be melodramatic. You're fine. You're calling me, aren't you?" She sighed. "The concert was wonderful, by the way. Thanks for asking. Elton John is just phenomenal." Diane cried during Rocket Man. I couldn't speak. My throat had closed completely. My father got on the phone. "Son, your mother and I have been talking. You need to get better at planning. Emergencies happen, sure, but you can't expect us to drop everything every time you have a crisis. We raised you. We did our job. Now you need to handle your own responsibilities." "My own responsibilities," I repeated numbly. "That's right. Those kids are your responsibility, not ours. We love them, of course, but we're entitled to our retirement. We're entitled to enjoy our lives. In the house I helped you buy, we never asked you for that money. That was your choice. And Diane's tuition, that I pay every semester? Is that also something you never asked for? Your sister is family. Family helps family." The hypocrisy was staggering. I started laughing, which hurt my incision terribly, but I couldn't stop. "Austin, are you okay? You sound hysterical." "I'm perfect, Dad. Thanks for checking. I have to go now." I hung up before he could respond. I lay there in that hospital bed, hooked up to machines, my body torn apart and stitched back together, and something shifted inside me. Something fundamental broke and reformed into something harder. I opened my laptop. The hospital Wi-Fi was slow but functional. I logged into my bank account and stopped the automatic transfer to my parents' mortgage. $2,000 per month I'd been paying for 3 years. $72,000 total, $12,000 more than my initial down payment. Then I composed an email to Ohio State's Financial Services Office, withdrawing my sponsorship of Diane's tuition, effective immediately. Finally, I blocked all 3 of their numbers. At 2 in the morning, with my hands still shaking, I wrote them an email. I was careful with my words. Precise. I detailed exactly what had happened, the medical emergency, their refusal, the fact that they chose a concert over a potentially life-threatening situation, the fact that they couldn't be bothered to watch their grandchildren for one night. I explained that I was done being their ATM machine, done being treated like a burden while simultaneously being expected to fund their comfortable life, done being disrespected and dismissed. I told them I was cutting all financial support and all contact. I hit send at 2:17 in the morning. Then I cried, until a night nurse came in and held my hand without saying a word. Sometimes that's all you need, someone to witness your pain. The next morning, Carol brought the twins to visit. Hospital policy normally didn't allow children that young, but Dr. Morrison bent the rules when she heard my situation. Emma and Lucas climbed carefully onto my bed, their little faces so worried. "Daddy has an OE?" Emma touched my face gently. "Yeah, baby. A big OV. But I'm getting better." Lucas snuggled into my side, careful of the IV lines. "Home soon?" "A few more days. But Carol is taking good care of you, right?" They both nodded. Carol stood by the door, giving us privacy. She was a godsend, this woman. Calm and kind, and exactly what my kids needed. After they left, I checked my email. 3 new messages. The first was from my sister. The subject line was, "How dare you?" I opened it. The email was vicious. She called me cruel, vindictive, controlling. She said I was using money to manipulate them. She said she'd already called the college financial office and reported me for financial abuse. She'd told them I was trying to sabotage her education out of spite. But that wasn't the worst part. She'd posted on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, a long post about her horrible brother who cut off his struggling parents and his student sister without warning, who abandoned his family in their time of need, who was so selfish he couldn't see past his own problems. The post was already viral in our extended family and friend circles. Dozens of comments, hundreds of shares. My Aunt Carol, who I hadn't spoken to in 5 years, called me ungrateful. My cousins, who I used to be close with, called me vindictive. Friends from high school were commenting, shocked that I could be so cruel. Nobody was asking for my side of the story. I temporarily unblocked my phone to see the damage. 47 text messages, voicemails, all of them angry, all of them calling me selfish, heartless, a terrible son and brother. My hands were shaking. So badly, I dropped the phone. The social media storm didn't die down. It grew. By the 3rd day of my hospital stay, my sister's post had been shared over 200 times. Extended family members I barely remembered were messaging me with fury. Second cousins, old family friends, people from my parents' church. The narrative was set. I was the villain. The ungrateful son who turned his back on his loving family over a minor disagreement. Nobody mentioned that the minor disagreement was them refusing to help during a medical emergency that nearly killed me. My friend Jason from work came to visit that afternoon. He's been my closest friend since we started at the engineering firm 5 years ago. He looked uncomfortable as he sat down. Man, I don't know how to tell you this. My stomach dropped. What? Someone's been leaving reviews on the company website. About you, by name. He showed me his phone. 3 one-star reviews, all posted in the last 24 hours, all mentioning me specifically. Austin Harper is unethical and cruel to his own family. How can you trust him with your business? This company employs someone who financially abuses his elderly parents. Disgusting. Austin Harper abandoned his family. What does that say about your company's values? Jason, I didn't abandon anyone. They refused to watch my kids during emergency surgery. I almost died. I know, man. I believe you. But this is getting bad. Henderson in HR sent an email this morning asking about family issues affecting company reputation. My boss was hearing about this. How did they even know where I work? Jason looked even more uncomfortable. Your sister tagged the company in a Facebook post. She shared your LinkedIn profile. She's been pretty thorough. I felt sick. Not from my surgery, though that still hurt. From the realization that my own sister was actively trying to destroy my life. I need to respond. I need to tell people what really happened. Maybe wait until you're out of the hospital? Clear your head first? But I couldn't wait. The lies were spreading too fast. I drafted a Facebook post explaining my side. The medical emergency. The refusal. The choice between a concert and their son's life. I posted it and watched the response. It was worse than staying silent. That's not what happened, and you know it. Stop playing the victim. Your parents said they offered to help after the concert and you refused. You're lying to justify your cruelty. My mother had apparently told everyone that they offered to come after the concert, around midnight, and I'd been too stubborn to accept. A complete fabrication. But people believed her. The next morning, I received an email from my company's HR department. The subject line made my blood run cold. Required meeting. Regarding recent allegations. The email was formal, cold. There had been an anonymous complaint filed, suggesting that if I treated my family with such financial misconduct, I might be unreliable with company finances. They needed to meet with me as soon as I was released from the hospital to discuss these serious allegations. My job, my career, everything I'd worked for since college. Now at risk because my sister was on a crusade to ruin me. Carol came by that afternoon with the twins. Emma immediately noticed I was upset. Daddy sad? I tried to smile. Just tired, sweetheart. After the twins played with the toy cars Jason had brought them, Carol asked if we could talk privately. The nurse took Emma and Lucas to see the fish tank in the pediatric wing. Austin, I don't want to overstep, but I think you should consider legal action. What your family is doing, the false statements, the workplace complaints, that's harassment. It might even be defamation. I can't afford a lawyer right now. Between your fees, my medical bills, my deductible, I've been thinking about that. My daughter's a family law attorney. Let me call her, see if she can give you a free consultation at least. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. Austin, I've been doing this work for 20 years. I've seen a lot of families. What yours is doing to you, it's not normal. It's abuse. That word. Abuse. I'd never thought of it that way. They were my parents. My sister. Family wasn't supposed to abuse you, but Carol was right. Later that evening, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was my mother. She'd called from a friend's phone to get past my block. "How could you do this to your sister?" she hissed. "She had to drop 2 classes because she can't afford tuition. You're ruining her future." She ruined my reputation. She called my workplace. She filed false complaints. She's telling lies to everyone we know. She's defending herself against your cruelty. And now your father and I might lose our house. Did you think about that? Did you think about how this affects us? Did you think about how letting me die would affect Emma and Lucas? You weren't going to die. Stop exaggerating. The doctor said another hour, and I would have gone septic. That kills people, Mom. Well, you didn't. So all this drama is for nothing. I hung up. Blocked that number too. That night, I couldn't sleep, despite the pain medication. I kept refreshing my phone, watching the attacks pile up. My childhood friend Marcus, who I'd been best man for at his wedding, posted that he was disappointed in me. A girl I dated in college said I'd always been selfish, and she wasn't surprised. My father's brother, Uncle Tom, left a voicemail saying I better make this right or I'd regret it. The walls were closing in. And then, just before midnight, Carol's daughter called. Her name was Patricia. She'd reviewed the situation based on what her mother told her. "Austin, I'm going to be direct. What they're doing could constitute harassment, defamation, and possibly tortious interference with your employment. The false CPS report, if they file one, would be criminal. You need to start documenting everything. Every message, every post, every interaction. And you need to prepare for this to get worse before it gets better." Worse? How could this get worse? Her pause told me everything. In cases like this, when family members feel like they're losing control, they escalate. They might try to involve authorities, file false reports, attempt to damage you in ways that are harder to defend against. Like what? Like claiming you're an unfit parent. The fear that seized me was primal. Emma and Lucas were everything. They were the only thing keeping me alive after Lauren died. They wouldn't. Austin, they already tried to destroy your job, your reputation. They're desperate and angry. Yes, they would. I was released from the hospital the next afternoon. 5 days of hell, physically and emotionally. The bill was staggering. Even with insurance, my portion was $6,200. Combined with Carol's fees, I'd burned through most of my emergency savings. But I was going home to my kids. Carol had been amazing. The house was clean, the twins were happy, she'd maintained their routine perfectly. I paid her the additional $1,200 we'd agreed on, and thanked her profusely. "Call me if you need anything," she said. "And seriously, talk to my daughter. Let her help you." That night, I held my kids extra close. We read their favorite books 3 times. I let them stay in my bed even though I knew I'd regret it when they kicked me all night. I was almost asleep when my phone buzzed with an email. The sender was listed as anonymous, but the subject line said, "You need to see this." My finger hovered over delete. But something made me open it. Inside were screenshots. A group chat from Facebook Messenger. My sister and 4 of her friends. The messages made my blood run cold. Just filed the CPS report. Told them Austin's mentally unstable and the twins are being neglected, lol. Oh my God, Diane, you're savage. But he deserves it for cutting you off. I'm just getting started. Gonna make him pay for ruining my life. What else are you planning? Already got his workplace involved. Next, I'm thinking about talking to his neighbors, telling them to watch out for the kids. Make it look like there's a pattern. You're my hero. Burn his life down. My sister. Laughing. Strategizing. Actively working to take my children away from me. The email had one more line. I went to high school with your sister. I'm in this group chat, and I can't stay silent anymore. What she's doing is wrong. I thought you should know the truth. I'm willing to provide a statement if you need it. I forwarded the screenshots to Patricia immediately. Then I got out of bed, careful not to wake the twins, went into the bathroom, and threw up. The next morning, I called Patricia at 7. She'd clearly been expecting my call. You got my email about the screenshots? Yes. This is evidence, Austin. Real, documented evidence of harassment, conspiracy, and filing a false CPS report. In Ohio, making a false report to CPS is a first-degree misdemeanor. It's a crime. What do I do? First, we file for a restraining order. Against all three of them. Your parents and your sister. These screenshots, combined with the harassment campaign and the false CPS report, that's enough for a temporary order. Second, we file a countersuit. Defamation, harassment, emotional distress. Third, we go on offense instead of defense. We stop reacting and start acting. How much is this going to cost? She was quiet for a moment. My retainer is normally $5,000. Given the circumstances, and because my mom asked me to help, I'll do $3,000. We can work out a payment plan. $3,000 I didn't have. But what choice did I have? This wasn't about money anymore. It was about keeping my children. Okay, let's do it. We spent the next 2 hours on the phone, going through everything. Every message, every post, every interaction. She had me send her all the documentation. The original text messages from my parents refusing to help. The hospital records showing the severity of my condition. The screenshots from the anonymous sender. Everything. I'm filing the paperwork today. We should have a hearing for the temporary restraining order within 72 hours. In the meantime, do not engage with them. At all. Block every avenue of communication. If they show up at your house, call the police. Don't open the door. Don't talk to them. Nothing. 3 days later, I was back at work. Still sore but functional. My boss called me into his office first thing. Austin, we need to talk about these complaints. I know. And I have something to show you. I'd prepared a folder. Copies of everything. The medical records. The text messages. The screenshots of my sister's group chat admitting to filing false reports. A letter from Patricia explaining the harassment campaign. My boss, Richard Carlson, read through everything silently. His expression shifted from skeptical to concerned to angry. Your sister did this? Deliberately? Yes, sir. Because I stopped paying her college tuition after they refused to help me during a medical emergency. He closed the folder carefully. Austin, I owe you an apology. HR should have come to you directly instead of assuming the complaints had merit. This is clearly a case of targeted harassment. The relief was overwhelming. So my job is safe? Your job was never in danger. But I wish you'd told us what was happening sooner. We could have shut this down immediately. He paused. Take the rest of the week off. Paid. Get this legal situation handled. And if you need anything, any kind of support from the company, you let me know. I almost cried right there in his office. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for Friday afternoon. Patricia filed all the necessary paperwork, including the screenshots and a sworn statement from the anonymous sender, whose name turned out to be Bethany, a girl who'd been in Diane's class since middle school. Thursday morning, Carol called me. Austin, I hate to do this, but I've been offered a permanent position with another family. It's full-time, better pay, benefits. I can give you 2 more weeks to find someone else. Of course. Thank you for everything you've done. After I hung up, I put my head in my hands. Another problem. Another expense. Another thing to solve alone. That afternoon, a car pulled into my driveway. I looked out the window and saw my Uncle Tom getting out. He was a big man, former military, with a temper. I'd seen him get into fistfights at family barbecues over stupid things. He walked up to my porch and started pounding on the door. "Austin, open up. We need to talk." The twins were at daycare, thank God. I didn't open the door. "Go away, Tom. You need to make this right. Your parents are suffering. Your sister had to drop out of school. This is family, Austin. You don't turn your back on family." They turned their back on me first. It was one night, one concert, and you're destroying their lives over it. Other neighbors were starting to come outside, watching the scene. "Tom, I'm calling the police if you don't leave right now." "Call them. Let everyone see what kind of person you are." I did call them. Tom stayed on my porch yelling until the police arrived 8 minutes later. By then, at least 6 neighbors were outside watching. The officers made Tom leave. One of them, a younger guy named Officer Martinez, asked if I wanted to file a report. Yes. And I have a restraining order hearing tomorrow. This needs to be documented. Officer Martinez nodded and took down all the information. After they left, my neighbor from across the street, an older woman named Helen, who'd brought us cookies when Lauren died, came over. "Austin, honey, are you okay? We've been so worried about you." And right there, for the first time, someone from outside my immediate crisis asked if I was okay. I broke down. Helen hugged me while I sobbed on my porch. "Whatever's going on with your family, I want you to know that Marcus and I are here if you need anything. We don't believe whatever stories are going around. We know you. We know what kind of father you are." That small kindness meant everything. The restraining order hearing was at 2 on Friday. Patricia met me at the courthouse. My parents were there with their lawyer, an older man in an expensive suit. Diane was there too, looking smug. The hearing took an hour. Patricia presented all the evidence: the text messages, the hospital records, the screenshots of Diane's group chat, the police report from Tom's visit, the false workplace complaints. My parents' lawyer tried to argue that it was a family disagreement being blown out of proportion, that I was using the legal system to punish them for not babysitting. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Judge Anderson, was not impressed. "Mr. and Mrs. Harper, your son experienced a life-threatening medical emergency. He asked you to care for his children for one night. You refused and went to a concert. That is your right, of course. You're under no legal obligation to provide childcare. However, what happened after that, the harassment campaign, the false reports, the attempts to damage his employment, that crosses several legal lines." She granted the temporary restraining order. All 3 of them had to stay at least 500 feet away from me, my home, and my workplace. No contact of any kind. Violation would result in arrest. My mother actually gasped. My father looked furious. Diane looked scared for the first time. The judge wasn't done. "Miss Harper, the court is aware that you filed a false report with Child Protective Services. The screenshots you so foolishly put in writing show clear intent to make a knowingly false report. The prosecutor's office will be reviewing this matter for criminal charges. Making a false CPS report is a crime in Ohio. The unforgettable." As we left the courthouse, my mother tried to approach me. 2 courthouse security officers immediately stepped between us, reminding her of the restraining order that was now in effect. "Austin, please," she called out. "We can fix this. We can talk." I didn't respond. Patricia had coached me. Don't engage. Don't react. Just leave. In the parking lot, Patricia squeezed my shoulder. "You did great. This is just the beginning, but we're building a strong case. How are you feeling?" "Tired. Relieved. Scared. That's normal. Go home. Hug your kids. Take the weekend to breathe." I drove home in a daze. The legal fees were piling up. I'd already paid Patricia $1,500, with another $1,500 due, plus Carol's replacement, plus my medical bills, plus regular life expense. But at least I had breathing room. At least they couldn't contact me. At least my kids were safe. That night, after Emma and Lucas were asleep, I sat on my back porch with a beer and finally let myself feel everything. The betrayal, the fear, the exhaustion, the small, growing ember of hope that maybe I could survive this. My phone buzzed. An email from the CPS investigator. Mr. Harper, based on new evidence provided by your attorney, we are closing the investigation into the allegations against you. The report has been determined to be malicious and false. We apologize for any distress this investigation caused. No record of this will remain in the system. I read it 3 times to make sure it was real. Then I went inside, crawled into bed next to my sleeping children, and slept through the night for the first time in weeks. The next 2 weeks were relatively quiet. The restraining order was working. I'd hired a new nanny, a wonderful woman named Beth who came recommended by Carol. The twins loved her. Work was stable. I was healing, physically and emotionally, but I should have known it wouldn't last. It was a Tuesday morning when the knock came. 7:15. I was making breakfast for the twins, still in my pajamas. Emma was singing to her stuffed rabbit. Lucas was building a tower with blocks. I looked through the peephole and my blood turned to ice. CPS. A different investigator this time. A stern-looking woman with a clipboard. No, this couldn't be happening again. I opened the door, keeping the chain lock engaged. Can I help you, Mr. Harper? I'm Sharon Patterson, with Child Protective Services. We received another report, and I need to conduct a home inspection and interview you and the children. Another report? The last one was closed. It was proven to be false. I'm aware. But we're required to investigate every report we receive. May I come in? I wanted to slam the door. I wanted to scream. Instead, I took a breath and called Patricia right there. Don't let her in without me present, Patricia said immediately. Tell her you're invoking your right to have legal counsel present during any investigation. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I relayed this to Miss Patterson. She looked annoyed but agreed to wait. The longest 30 minutes of my life. I got the twins dressed, tried to explain to them that a nice lady needed to talk to us. Emma asked if she was in trouble. My heart broke. Patricia arrived exactly when she said she would. Miss Patterson came in, and the inspection began. She went through every room, checked the cleanliness, the safety measures, the food in the fridge. She looked at the twins' bedroom, their toys, their clothes. She inspected the bathroom, the locks on the cabinets, the outlet covers. Everything was perfect. I'd been meticulous. Then came the interviews. She spoke with me first, asking invasive questions about my mental health, my parenting, my family situation. Patricia objected to several questions, but I answered what I could. The worst part was when she interviewed the twins separately, took them into their bedroom, while I waited outside, my heart pounding. What would they say? Would they mention that I'd been sad lately? Would they somehow give this woman ammunition to take them from me? After 45 minutes, Miss Patterson came out. Her expression was different now, less stern, almost sympathetic. Mr. Harper, I need to be frank with you. This report, like the last one, appears to be retaliatory in nature. The allegations were vague and generic. Nothing I've seen here raises any concerns. Your children are well cared for, the home is safe and clean, and both children clearly have a secure attachment to you. Relief flooded through me so powerfully I had to sit down. However, she continued, I do need to ask, do you have any idea who filed this report? The same people who filed the last one, I assume. My parents or my sister. I have a restraining order against all 3. She nodded slowly. I need to make you aware of something. Multiple false reports, especially when there's a clear pattern of harassment, can result in legal consequences for the filer. I'm flagging this case for review by our legal department. After she left, I collapsed on the couch. The twins climbed onto me, sensing my distress. Daddy, okay? Lucas patted my cheek. Yeah, buddy. Daddy's okay. But I wasn't okay. I was terrified. What if this kept happening? What if every few weeks, for the rest of their childhood, I had to go through this terror? The constant threat of someone taking my children away? Patricia stayed after Miss Patterson left. Austin, we need to escalate this. File the countersuit I mentioned. Go after them for harassment, defamation, emotional distress. Make it hurt financially. That's the only language some people understand. I don't have that kind of money. You don't need it all up front. And honestly, given the evidence we have, we'll likely win. When we do, they'll be ordered to pay your legal fees plus damages. How long will that take? Months, maybe a year. But in the meantime, we make it clear that continuing to harass you has serious consequences. I agreed. What choice did I have? The countersuit was filed the next week. The amount we asked for was substantial. $50,000 in damages, plus legal fees, plus a permanent restraining order. My parents received the papers on a Friday. By Saturday morning, I had 17 missed calls from blocked numbers. Voicemails from extended family members I hadn't heard from in years, all berating me for suing my own parents. But this time, I had Patricia's coaching. I saved every voicemail, documented every call. Each one was evidence of continued harassment. Sunday afternoon, Jason came over with pizza. He'd been my rock through all of this, one of the few people who never questioned my side of the story. How are you holding up? I don't know anymore. Some days I think I'm winning. Other days I feel like I'm drowning. You're not drowning. You're fighting back. That's different. The twins loved Jason. He played cars with Lucas while Emma showed him her latest drawings. Normal. This moment was normal and beautiful and everything I was fighting for. That night after Jason left and the twins were asleep, I let myself look at social media for the first time in weeks. Patricia had advised against it, but I needed to know what was being said. The narrative had shifted. Not completely, but enough. Bethany, the girl who'd sent me the screenshots, had posted her own statement, explaining what Diane had done. Several other people who'd known my family growing up were starting to comment with their own stories of my parents' behavior. My cousin Mark, who I hadn't spoken to in 5 years, posted a long comment defending me. Apparently, my parents had treated him the same way when he'd stopped loaning them money. The tide was turning. Slowly. But it was turning. Then I saw a post from my mother. Recent. Posted just an hour ago. Our hearts are broken. Our son has turned against us over a simple misunderstanding. We only want to be in our grandchildren's lives. We want peace. We want our family back. Please pray for reconciliation. The comments were mixed now. Some people supported her, but others were asking questions. Where was Austin's side? Why did a simple misunderstanding require a restraining order? What really happened? I didn't respond. I wouldn't give them that satisfaction. Monday morning, I got a text from Beth, the nanny. Austin, I need to tell you something. A woman, claiming to be the children's grandmother, showed up at the park today while we were there with the twins. She tried to approach them. I stopped her, and we left immediately. I wanted you to know. My hands were shaking as I called Patricia. That's a restraining order violation. Call the police. File a report. Now. I did. The police took my statement, took Beth's statement, said they'd follow up. That evening, as I was giving the twins their bath, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Police. But not here for a report. I opened the door. Mr. Austin Harper? Yes? We arrested your mother, Susan Harper, this afternoon for violating a court order. She's been released on her own recognizance, but there will be a hearing. You'll be notified of the date. We wanted to inform you in person. After they left, I sat on the floor in my hallway and cried. Not from sadness, from exhaustion, from the sheer absurdity that my own mother had been arrested because she couldn't leave me alone. The twins found me there. Daddy crying? I pulled them both into my lap. Daddy's just tired, babies. But I'm okay. We're all okay. That night, I got an email from my father. He'd found a way around the blocked numbers by emailing from a new address. The subject line was, "Enough." I almost deleted it. But something made me open it. "Austin, this has gone far enough. Your mother was arrested today. Arrested, like a common criminal, because she wanted to see her grandchildren at a public park. You've destroyed this family. You've turned everyone against each other, all because we couldn't babysit one night. Is this who you want to be? A man who uses the legal system as a weapon against his own family? We want peace. We want to see Emma and Lucas. We want to fix this. But you have to meet us halfway. Call off the lawyers. Drop the lawsuit. Let's sit down and talk like adults. Your mother is devastated. Diane had to drop out of school completely. I might lose the house. Is this what you wanted? To hurt us? Because if it is, congratulations. You've succeeded. But think about what you're teaching your children. That family doesn't matter. That money is more important than blood. Is that the legacy Lauren would have wanted? Reply to this email. Let's end this madness before it destroys what's left of this family. Dad. I read it twice. Then I forwarded it to Patricia with a note. More evidence of harassment and attempting to circumvent the restraining order. I didn't reply to my father. Instead, I went upstairs, kissed my sleeping children, and reminded myself why I was doing this. Because family isn't supposed to destroy you. Family is supposed to protect you. And sometimes, protecting yourself means cutting out the people who hurt you most. Even if they share your blood. The next few weeks brought a strange sort of peace. The arrest seemed to have finally scared my family into compliance. The calls stopped. The social media posts stopped. The harassment campaign died down. Patricia was methodical in building our case. She'd gathered statements from Jason, from Carol, from Beth, from my boss. She had the medical records, the text messages, the screenshots. She had the police reports from the restraining order violations. We have an extremely strong case, she told me during a meeting at her office. Honestly, I'd be surprised if they don't try to settle before we go to court. What would a settlement look like? They drop all their claims, admit fault, agree to permanent no-contact orders, and pay your legal fees plus some damages. Maybe $20,000, instead of the $50 we're asking for. But it ends things faster and cheaper for everyone. Would I have to see them? Talk to them? No. Everything could be handled through attorneys. The thought of never having to face them again was appealing. But part of me wanted my day in court. Wanted a judge to hear everything they'd done and rule in my favor publicly. Let's see if they offer, I said. But I'm not agreeing to anything that doesn't include a full admission of what they did. 2 days later, their attorney reached out about settlement negotiations. The offer was insulting. They'd agree to leave me alone if I dropped the lawsuit and paid them $10,000 for their legal fees. Patricia actually laughed when she read it to me. They're not serious. This is a negotiating tactic. They're testing to see how desperate you are to end this. Tell them no. We go to court. But before we could respond, everything changed. It was a Wednesday morning. 5 weeks after my emergency surgery. 5 weeks of legal battles and harassment and fear. The twins were at daycare. I was working from home, finally feeling like life might return to some version of normal. The knock on my door came at 7:30. I looked through the peephole, and my heart stopped. My mother, standing on my porch, dressed nicely, hair done, holding a casserole dish. Behind her, parked at the curb, was my father's car. I could see him in the driver's seat, and in the back seat, my sister Diane. They'd violated the restraining order. All of them. Together. My mother knocked again. Austin, I know you're home. Your car is here. Please, we need to talk. I made your favorite, that chicken casserole you loved growing up. Let's just sit down and work this out. I backed away from the door, pulling out my phone. Called Patricia first. They're at my house. All 3 of them. Violating the restraining order. Do not open that door. Do not engage. Call the police right now. I'm on my way. I called 911, while my mother continued knocking. her voice getting more desperate. Austin, please. We're your family. You can't keep us away forever. Those children need their grandparents. This is ridiculous. The dispatcher stayed on the line with me. Officers are 3 minutes away, sir. Stay inside. Do not open the door. Through the window, I could see neighbors starting to notice. Helen from across the street had come out onto her porch, phone in hand, watching. My mother's voice changed, getting louder, more emotional. Fine. If you won't talk to us, then everyone needs to know what kind of person you are. You're keeping our grandchildren from us. You're using the legal system to abuse your own parents. We just want to see Emma and Lucas. She was performing now, making sure the neighbors could hear, creating a scene that would make her look like the victim. My father got out of the car. Susan, come on. This isn't working. Let's go. No, I'm not leaving until he talks to us. We have rights. Grandparents have rights. Police sirens in the distance, getting closer. Diane got out of the car too, her phone up, recording everything. Of course, this was planned. They were documenting their peaceful attempt at reconciliation to use against me somehow. 2 police cars pulled up, 4 officers. One of them was Officer Martinez, who'd been here before when my uncle came by. Folks, you need to step away from the residence. There's a restraining order in place. My mother turned to the officers, tears streaming down her face now. Officers, please. That's my son. Those are my grandchildren in there. He won't even talk to us. We just want to see our family. Ma'am, there's a court order. You're violating it by being here. You need to leave now. This is America. You can't tell a grandmother she can't see her grandchildren. Actually, ma'am, a judge already did tell you that. You need to leave, or you'll be arrested. My father tried to take my mother's arm. Susan, let's go. We tried. Let's just go. She shook him off. No, I'm not leaving. Austin. She started toward the door again. Officer Martinez stepped in front of her. Ma'am, stop right there. I need to talk to my son. Ma'am, I'm asking you one more time to leave voluntarily. Diane was still recording everything, her face flushed with anger. This is police brutality. She's just trying to see her grandchildren. Another officer turned to her. Miss, you're also in violation of the restraining order. You need to leave now. This is public property. We have a right to be here. This is private property, and you've been ordered by a court to stay away. Leave now. My mother, desperate now, shouted loud enough for the whole street to hear. Austin Harper, you're a horrible son. You're keeping your children from their family. You're going to regret this. They're going to grow up and hate you for what you're doing. Officer Martinez had had enough. Susan Harper, you're under arrest for violating a protective order. The scene that followed would have been comical if it wasn't so horrifying. My mother started screaming, calling the officers fascists, claiming this was illegal. My father started arguing. Diane kept recording and yelling about police overreach. In the end, all 3 of them were arrested, handcuffed, put into separate police cars. The casserole dish left abandoned on my porch steps. Helen came over after the police left, her face full of concern. Austin, honey, I am so sorry you're dealing with this. Marcus and I both saw everything. We'll give statements if you need us to. Thank you, Helen. That means more than you know. Patricia arrived 20 minutes later. I was sitting on my couch, still shaking. They actually showed up, together, after everything. They gave us exactly what we need, Patricia said, almost excited. A clear, documented violation with multiple witnesses and police reports. The judge is going to throw the book at them. What happens now? They'll be arraigned, probably later today. Violating a restraining order, especially a second time for your mother. That's serious. They're looking at potential jail time, though more likely heavy fines, extended restraining orders, and it absolutely destroys any credibility they had. Our lawsuit just got a lot stronger. That evening, after I'd picked up the twins from daycare and was making them dinner, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mr. Harper? This is David Chen. No, that's a forbidden name. This is David Morrison, attorney for Richard and Susan Harper. My clients have asked me to reach out about a settlement. I'm represented by counsel. You should contact Patricia Wellington. I will. But I wanted to speak with you directly. My clients made a terrible mistake today. They understand that now. They're prepared to offer a full settlement. They'll admit fault, agree to permanent no contact, pay your legal fees, and pay $25,000 in damages. They'll also publicly retract their previous statements. All they ask is that you don't pursue criminal charges for today's violation. I don't control criminal charges. That's up to the prosecutor. We understand. But you could choose not to cooperate with prosecution. Please, Mr. Harper. Your parents are good people who made bad choices. They're terrified. They could face jail time. This has destroyed them. They tried to destroy me first. I know. And they're wrong. They know they're wrong. Please, just think about it. Talk to your attorney. Let's end this before anyone else gets hurt. After he hung up, I sat there for a long time. The twins were playing with their toys, happy and oblivious. They didn't know what had happened today. They didn't know their grandmother had been screaming outside their home, had been arrested. They didn't remember her at all, really. They'd been so young when I cut contact. Patricia called an hour later. She'd heard from their attorney. It's a good offer, Austin. Better than I expected. With the $25,000, you'd actually come out ahead after paying all the legal fees. And the public retraction. That could help repair your reputation in the community. What about the criminal charges? That's separate. But honestly, the prosecutor might not pursue it anyway. First-time offenders, especially elderly first-time offenders, often get probation for this kind of thing. Your mother's second violation is more serious, but even that might just result in a fine and extended restraining order. So they get away with it. They don't get away with it. They're paying $25,000, admitting they were wrong, and being legally barred from ever contacting you again. That's not nothing. I thought about Emma and Lucas, about the life I wanted to build for them. A life free from this constant chaos and fear. Okay, I'll take the settlement. But I want the public retraction to be detailed. I want them to admit, specifically, that they refused to help during a medical emergency, that they harassed me, that the CPS reports were false. All of it. I'll make sure it's included in the terms. The settlement was finalized 2 weeks later. My parents signed a 3-page statement admitting to everything. The harassment, the false reports, the violations. They posted it on social media. They sent copies to everyone who'd received their original accusations. The money was transferred to my account. $25,000. After Patricia's fees, I had $12,000 left. Enough to replenish my emergency fund, enough to breathe. The permanent restraining order was issued. They were barred from contacting me or my children until Emma and Lucas turned 18. 15 years of guaranteed peace. I thought that would be the end of it. I should have known better. 3 months after the settlement, life had finally found a rhythm. Beth was working out wonderfully as the nanny. The twins were thriving in preschool. My job was going well. I'd even started dating again, carefully. A teacher named Sarah I'd met at the twins' school event. The social media storm had died down. Most people had moved on to other drama. The few who still brought it up, I simply ignored. I'd started therapy. Dr. Johnson helped me work through the trauma of everything that had happened. The betrayal, the fear, the constant hypervigilance waiting for the next attack. Slowly, I was healing. Then the letter came. It was handwritten. My mother's careful cursive on expensive stationery. No return address. Sent through her attorney's office to avoid violating the restraining order. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity won. Dear Austin, I know I have no right to contact you even through a letter like this. I know what we did was unforgivable, but I need you to know that your father and I have been in therapy, together and separately. We've been working on understanding why we acted the way we did, why we hurt you so badly when you needed us most. The therapist helped us see patterns we'd been blind to for years. Your father's need for control. My fear of being needed. The way we treated you like an obligation rather than our son. The way we took and took from you, without ever giving back. I wish I could explain what happened that night, why we chose a concert over you. But the truth is, there's no explanation that makes it okay. We were selfish. We were cruel. We were wrong. I watch Emma and Lucas's photos on your sister's old Facebook posts before you cut us off, and I see how big they're getting. I see your smile in their faces, and I hate myself for missing it, for throwing away the chance to be in their lives because I was too stubborn to admit I was wrong. Diane is doing better. She got a job and is taking online classes. She's in therapy too. She wrote you a letter but was too afraid to send it. She knows she can never make up for what she did. Your father wants you to know he's proud of you. He says it constantly now, how strong you are, how well you're raising the twins alone. He wishes he'd said it before everything fell apart. We don't expect forgiveness. We don't expect reconciliation. We signed those papers knowing we might never see you again. But I wanted you to know that we're trying to be better people. Not for you, because we lost that right, but because we finally see what we were, and we're ashamed. If someday, years from now, you decide you want to try again, we'll be here. We'll be the people you deserved all along. But if you never want to see us again, we understand. We deserve that. I hope you're happy, Austin. I hope Sarah is good to you. I hope the twins are thriving. I hope you've found peace. You deserve all of that and more. With love and deep regret, Mom. I read it 3 times. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated. They admitted everything, apologized for everything, acknowledged how badly they'd failed me. But mostly, I just felt tired. I showed the letter to Dr. Johnson at my next session. "How does it make you feel?" she asked. "I don't know. Sad mostly. Sad that it took all of this for them to see what they were doing. Sad that they chose a concert over potentially watching me die. Sad that Emma and Lucas will grow up without grandparents, because their grandparents couldn't show basic human decency. Do you want to respond? I don't know. Part of me does. Part of me wants to leave it in the past and move forward. There's no wrong answer. You get to decide what's right for you." I put the letter in a drawer. I didn't respond. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I didn't throw it away either. 6 months later, I was at the twins' preschool spring concert. Emma sang a solo in her little 4-year-old voice, slightly off-key but perfect. Lucas forgot his lines but smiled through it anyway. Sarah was there next to me, holding my hand. She'd become a real part of our lives, patient and kind with the twins, understanding about my complicated past. After the concert, we went out for ice cream. The twins were covered in chocolate within minutes. Sarah laughed and helped clean them up. This, I thought, this is what family looks like. That night, after the twins were asleep, I pulled out my mother's letter again, read it one more time. Then I wrote a response. Short. Simple. I got your letter. I'm not ready for contact. Maybe I never will be. But I'm glad you're working on yourselves. Everyone deserves a chance to be better. The twins are happy and healthy. I'm happy and healthy. That's all you need to know right now. Maybe someday we can talk. But not today. Not for a long time. I need you to respect that. Take care of yourselves. Austin. I sent it through Patricia's office, maintaining the legal boundaries. I don't know if it was the right choice, but it felt honest. Life moved forward. The twins started kindergarten. I got a promotion at work. Sarah and I moved in together, creating a blended family that actually functioned with love and respect. I learned something through all of this, something it took me too long to understand. Family isn't about blood. It's not about obligation. It's not about guilt or duty or shared DNA. Family is about who shows up, who holds your hand in the hospital, who takes care of your kids when you can't, who stands by you when everyone else turns against you. Jason is family. Carol and Beth are family. Helen and Marcus from across the street are family. Sarah is family. And Emma and Lucas, always and forever, are family. The people who share my blood, who raised me, who I once would have done anything for, they made their choice. They chose a concert over their son's life. They chose pride over love. They chose to hurt me rather than admit they were wrong. I made my choice too. I chose peace. I chose protection. I chose my children's well-being over toxic relationships. And I chose myself. Finally, after years of giving and giving and giving until I had nothing left, I chose myself. That's not selfish. That's survival. The restraining order still has 12 years left on it. Maybe when it expires, when Emma and Lucas are old enough to decide for themselves whether they want to know their grandparents, maybe we'll revisit this. Or maybe we won't. Either way, I'll be okay. We'll be okay. Because I learned the hardest lesson of all. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot light yourself on fire to keep others warm. And you owe nothing, not even basic kindness, to people who would watch you break rather than offer you basic humanity. 2 years after everything fell apart, I'm standing in my backyard watching Emma and Lucas play on the swing set I built with Jason's help. Sarah is planting flowers in the garden, the twins helping her dig holes that are way too big. Lucas runs over to me. "Push me, Daddy. Push me higher." I walk over to the swings, place my hands on his back, and I push. "Higher, Daddy. Higher." And I do push him higher. I watch him soar through the air, laughing with pure joy, completely secure in the knowledge that I'll be here to catch him if he falls. This is what I saved. This moment. This peace. This love. It was worth every legal fee, every sleepless night, every moment of fear and pain. Because my children will grow up knowing what unconditional love looks like. They'll grow up knowing that their father will always put them first. They'll grow up knowing that protecting yourself isn't selfish, that boundaries aren't cruel, that sometimes loving yourself means letting go of people who hurt you, even if those people are family, especially if those people are family. Emma calls out from the garden. "Daddy, look, I found a worm." I walk over, leaving Lucas swinging happily. I crouch down next to my daughter and admire her discovery with appropriate enthusiasm. And I realize, right there in that moment, that I'm happy. Truly, deeply happy. I didn't need my parents' approval to be happy. I didn't need my sister's support. I didn't need extended family who chose sides without hearing my story. I needed exactly what I have. My children, a partner who respects me, friends who showed up, a job that values me, a therapist who helped me heal, a life built on honesty and boundaries and genuine love. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Sarah suggests we have dinner outside, a spring picnic in our own backyard. The twins cheer and race inside to help carry out plates. I look at the life I've built from the ashes of betrayal, and I smile. This is my family. This is my peace. This is my triumph. And it's more than enough. So, let me ask you something. Because maybe you're facing something similar. Maybe you have family members who take more than they give, who demand your loyalty while offering none in return, who make you feel guilty for having boundaries or expectations. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and protecting yourself? Have you ever had to cut ties with family members who were toxic, even though everyone told you family should always come first? What did you choose? And more importantly, do you think you made the right choice? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who's struggling with the same impossible decision. And if this story resonated with you, if you've been through something similar or know someone who has, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about overcoming family challenges and finding strength in the hardest moments. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to put themselves first sometimes. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it wasn't easy to hear, but I hope it reminded you that you're stronger than you think, and that protecting yourself and your children isn't selfish. It's necessary. Take care of yourselves out there. You deserve peace. You deserve love. And you deserve a family, blood or chosen, that shows up when you need them most. Until next time,